Let's begin with something we all know, but often resist. Life doesn't always go our way. Someone once asked me a question that I'm sure resonates with many of us. How can I learn to let go? At first glance, it sounds simple, doesn't it? Just let go. But if it were that easy, the self-help industry wouldn't be worth billions, and we wouldn't spend so many sleepless nights replaying moments we wish we could change or holding on to people we know we should release. So today, let's take a deeper dive into this challenge. Letting go is more than just a nice idea. It's an art, a skill, and yes, even a science. Together, we're going to unravel why it's so hard to let go, why it's so important, and how you can make it a reality in your own life. First, let's address the elephant in the room, control, or rather, our illusion of it. Think about it. From the moment we wake up, we're bombarded with things we can't control. The weather, the traffic, that colleague who insists on sending emails in all caps. And yet, we humans love control. We cling to it like it's a lifeline. Even when reality is shouting, you're not in charge. Psychologically speaking, our need for control stems from a very primal place. Our brains are hardwired to seek safety, to minimize uncertainty. Uncertainty equals danger, or at least that's how our ancient ancestors saw it. A rustling in the bushes could mean a tiger. In modern times, uncertainty is less about tigers and more about emails, breakups, and awkward social interactions. But the brain still reacts the same way. It panics, it clings, it resists change, and therein lies the problem. Life is nothing but change. Heraclitus, the Greek philosopher, famously said, "You cannot step into the same river twice. The river is always moving, always flowing, just like life. But instead of flowing with it, we try to dam the river, to freeze it in time. We hold on to people, to moments, to ideas of how things should be. And the tighter we grip, the more it hurts when those things inevitably slip away. Why do we do this to ourselves? Well, our brains also have something called negativity bias. This means we're naturally more attuned to what's going wrong than what's going right. It's why one critical comment can outweigh 10 compliments. When something or someone leaves our life, our brain fixates on the loss, the absence, the void. It whispers, "What if you never find happiness again? What if you made a mistake? What if?" But here's the kicker. Holding on doesn't stop the pain. It prolongs it. Imagine clenching a fistful of sand. The tighter you squeeze, the faster the grains slip through your fingers. Letting go, on the other hand, is like opening your hand and letting the sand rest there. It's still there, but you're no longer fighting gravity. You're no longer fighting life. Now, I'm not suggesting that letting go means you should stop caring. Far from it. Letting go is not apathy, it's acceptance. It's recognizing that while you can't control everything, you can control how you respond. And that's where your power lies. This idea is central to Stoic philosophy, which, by the way, is like ancient psychology. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosopher, wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In other words, the world might be chaotic, but your mind doesn't have to be. Letting go is about reclaiming that inner calm, that strength. Okay, so how do we do it? How do we actually practice letting go? Let's break it down. The first step is awareness. You can't let go of something if you don't even realize you're holding on. So ask yourself, what am I clinging to? Maybe it's a relationship that ended, but you're still replaying every conversation, wondering what you could have done differently. Maybe it's a grudge against someone who wronged you years ago. Maybe it's a dream that didn't pan out the way you'd hoped. Whatever it is, name it. Shine a light on it. Awareness is the first step toward change. Next, challenge your thoughts. Our minds are like toddlers on sugar, chaotic, irrational, and prone to tantrums. They'll tell you all kinds of things. You'll never find someone like them again. Or you failed, and now everyone knows it. But just because a thought pops into your head doesn't mean it's true. Psychologists call this cognitive restructuring, and it's all about questioning those negative narratives. Ask yourself, is this thought helping me or is it hurting me? More often than not, you'll find it's the latter. Now, let's talk about emotions. Oh, emotions. They're like that one friend who shows up uninvited, eats all your snacks, and then overstays their welcome. But here's the thing, emotions aren't the enemy. They're messengers. When you feel sadness, anger, or even fear, it's your brain's way of saying, hey, pay attention. Instead of pushing those feelings away, invite them in, sit with them, feel them fully, and then let them pass. Because like everything else, emotions are impermanent. Speaking of impermanence, let's revisit that idea. Buddhists have a term for clinging, abdana. It's the root of suffering, they say, because everything we cling to is, by its very nature, temporary. Think about it. Your favorite shirt will eventually wear out. Your favorite song will get overplayed. Even the people you love most will change, grow, and someday leave. This isn't meant to be depressing. It's liberating. When you accept that nothing lasts forever, you stop clinging. And when you stop clinging, you start living. One of my favorite metaphors comes from the Zen tradition. Imagine you're carrying a heavy backpack. It's filled with rocks, each one representing something you're holding on to. Regrets, grudges, expectations. Now imagine setting the backpack down. Feel the weight lift from your shoulders. That's what letting go feels like. It's not about losing something. It's about gaining freedom. But let's get practical. How can you actually set that backpack down? Start small. Practice letting go in everyday moments. Stuck in traffic, let go of the urge to honk and scream. Someone cuts in line, let go of the need to teach them a lesson. These little acts of release build a muscle, and over time they make it easier to let go of the bigger stuff. Mindfulness can help too. When you're present in the moment, you're not dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. You're simply here, now, one breath at a time, one step at a time. Mindfulness teaches you to observe your thoughts and feelings without getting swept away by them. It's like standing on the shore, watching waves crash, instead of being pulled under by the tide. And finally, practice gratitude. I know it sounds cliche, but gratitude shifts your focus. Instead of fixating on what you've lost, you start noticing what you still have, and there's always something to be grateful for. Even on the darkest days, a warm cup of coffee, a friend who listens, the fact that you're alive, breathing here. So there you have it. The art of letting go. It's not easy. It takes time, patience, and a whole lot of self-compassion. But it's worth it. Because when you let go, you're not just losing something. You're making space. Space for joy. Space for peace. Space for whatever comes next.